Good evening, Ambassador. As the United States prepares to celebrate the 4th of July, it is an apt moment to reflect on the ideals that have shaped on American history for 250 years. Freedom, democracy, innovation, and the belief that open societies are strongest when citizens can pursue their aspiration without fear. Those values have not only defined in the United States at home, but have also influenced the conversation around the world about the governance, opportunity, and human rights. At a time of profound geopolitical shift, economic uncertainty, and rapid technological change, the partnership between Bangladesh and the United States remains both consequential and evolving. From trade and investment to security, climate resilience, education, and people-to-people ties, our two nations continue to find new avenues for cooperation. We are therefore delighted to welcome the United States Ambassador to Bangladesh, His Excellency Brent Christensen. Ambassador, most welcome to our show, and thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Ambassador, I would like to start with the question because it's your second time you are serving in Dhaka. As the United States marks Freedom 250 and the 4th of July, what does it mean for you personally to celebrate America's independence here in Bangladesh, which is far away from America, but with your Bangladeshi friends?
Thank you for that. I'm really excited to be here as the U.S. ambassador to Bangladesh. I've been here almost 6 months at the time of our 250th birthday, and I couldn't ask President Trump to have given me a better assignment. You know, I know Bangladesh well. I lived here before from 2019 to 2021, but my history goes back even further. I worked on Bangladesh back in 2005 to 2007, and I came here the first time as a tourist all the way back in 2004. So I have more than 20 years working on Bangladesh issues and helping strengthen the U.S.-Bangladesh relationship. It's even more exciting to be here for our 250th birthday. You know, 250 years ago this July, the United States embarked upon the greatest experiment in self-governance and democracy the world has ever seen. You know, our founding fathers risked it all for their ideals. And so I'm excited to be here in Bangladesh to be able to help share more of our history, share more of our story, and celebrate together. You know, the story of U.S. independence, our Freedom 250, has inspired countries around the world. I know some of the ideas resonated here in Bangladesh during Bangladesh's own struggle for independence. And so it's really exciting to be able to celebrate here in Bangladesh. And we're not just celebrating in Dhaka. The first week of July, we'll be celebrating across the country, doing events in several other cities in Bangladesh and having several other events. But it won't just end in July because it's a really big birthday. So we'll be celebrating throughout the entire year. So look for a lot more fun things coming.
From July to July, right?
Well, from January to December. So you may have seen things like my 50 rickshaws launched with the red, white, and blue. We have some other really fun things coming. If you follow our embassy Facebook page, our social media, you can see what else we've got planned.
Okay. Ambassador, how does already you have said, how does your embassy, I mean your office is planned to observe the Freedom 250 and America Week in Bangladesh, and what message you want to give Bangladesh people from this celebration?
Thanks. We're planning to celebrate America Week, something my predecessors had launched, which we're bringing back, but we're bringing it back all over the country. We'll be in 𝗔𝗃𝗃𝗃, we'll be in 𝗔𝗯ance𝘂𝘂𝘁, we'll be in Sylhet, we'll be here in Dhaka, doing a variety of events celebrating U.S.-Bangladesh partnership, U.S.-Bangladesh friendship, and our 250th anniversary. But we've already started with a number of events. We have things like our Founders Museum, which tells the story of U.S. history, U.S. independence. That's been here at our EMK Center. It was featured out at Centerpoint Mall. It'll be rolling out to several other locations across the country soon, including in Gulshan Park on the July 4th.
Okay. So you have said almost 20 years you are somehow connected with Bangladesh. So we may call you as Bangladeshi expert. So we have seen recently the embassy use cultural diplomacy as a diplomatic tool, from Musa Khan Mosque renovation under AFCP project to highly visible rickshaw rally, what we have seen in Facebook, and we have honored that news also, which connect Bangladeshi people very closely. Why are people-to-people ties in the center of Bangladesh-US relationship, especially during this administration?
Well, people-to-people ties are the foundation of any relationship. We have to understand each other, we have to know each other to be able to advance the relationship further. You know, I've got a long history working on Bangladesh, but I'm still learning new things about Bangladesh every day. And I've really enjoyed getting to do some of the things with Bangladeshi culture, from opening art exhibits to the 𝗔𝗯𝘂𝘁𝗁 Mosque, to visiting several of the other cultural projects we've supported, or archaeological sites across the country. You know, I'm trying my hand at some other side jobs. You know, I've tried my hand as a rickshaw driver, as a television host. I've learned how to cook nahari with my friend Mahim. I'm not thinking I'm going to be able to open a restaurant yet, but I'm getting there.
But you are being a...
And, you know, most recently I was out in 𝗔𝗯𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃, where I learned a whole lot about Bangladeshi mangoes. Got to try some delicious 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗁𝗃 roti, and visit a lot of historical sites in that very cultural city. So it's a lot of fun for me to get to understand Bangladesh better, get out, meet more of the people, see the country, and help bring both discussion of the United States to more people, but also learn more about Bangladesh.
Okay. The United States is one of the Bangladesh's most important export destination, especially for ready-made garments. And you know, the importance of ready-made garments in our national economy is huge. What are your key priorities for taking bilateral trade to the next level? Because, you know, there are a lot of challenges globally, especially economic challenges. And in Bangladesh, we have a newly elected government.
Well, thank you for that very important question. You know, commercial diplomacy is one of my top priorities. It was outlined in President Trump's letter to the Prime Minister back in February, and it's something that I'm working very hard on with my team every single day. You know, for the U.S. trade policy right now, President Trump has had consistent views on trade for pretty much his entire life. President Trump believes that trade should be free, fair, and reciprocal. Countries that sell to one another should also buy from one another. It just makes sense. Bangladesh, as you've mentioned, is the United States is the largest market for Bangladesh's ready-made garments. Bangladesh exports a lot to the United States. Bangladesh historically has not bought a lot from the United States. That's not a sustainable reciprocal relationship. If you multiply that by the entire world, where's the United States going to have the money to buy things from everybody else? So we need to focus on trade that's free, fair, and reciprocal. Bangladesh exports a lot to the United States. Bangladesh should buy more from the United States. It just is a way that makes sense. And the way we're getting to that is through our agreement on reciprocal trade. Bangladesh was one of the early countries to sign a trade agreement with the United States in this administration to guarantee market access, to guarantee a tariff rate for Bangladesh that's very competitive, to guarantee several other advantages. The trade agreement, the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗁𝗏, is a bet on the future of Bangladesh. The 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗁𝗏 outlines a series of steps both countries will take to ensure that free, fair, and reciprocal trade. Everything from removing tariff and non-tariff barriers to reforms that are very much in line with the current government, the BNP's 31-point plan, transparent customs, labor reforms, other things that Bangladesh needs to take its economy to the next level. So we have a trade agreement that's the foundation for a new economic relationship, and one I'm really excited about because I'm here to bet on the future of Bangladesh.
So your target is to expand the business in two ways.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. You have already talked about the reciprocal trade agreement, RTA, and many people here in Bangladesh criticize it and they thought it was unfair. And how do you address that perception?
No, thanks. That's a really important question. And there's a lot of misinformation out there about the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗁𝗏. Most people I talk to, especially the critics, haven't even read the agreement. So we need people to actually understand what's in it. The 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗁𝗏 commits Bangladesh and the United States to take steps to secure that free, fair, and reciprocal trade. There are a number of commitments that Bangladesh is making in the agreement, things like transparency in customs, labor reforms, fair market access, removing barriers to investment. These are all things that the government has highlighted as part of its plans for moving the Bangladesh economy forward. I'm not going to lie to you, Bangladesh is not an easy place to do business. It's been very hard for foreign investors to do business here for many years. The 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗁𝗏 gives a framework to help improve the business environment, to help create the environment in Bangladesh to bring in new business, create new jobs, and grow Bangladesh's economy while at the same time securing better market access for the United States and removing a lot of things like non-tariff barriers that just don't make sense. Bangladesh has import requirements, has certain testing requirements that exist nowhere else in the world. The only country that imposes certain requirements on us. You know, if the ARC commits them to adopting international standards in line with what the rest of the world applies. It's all things that will help Bangladesh's economy grow even further. And that's why I say the ART is really a bet on the future of Bangladesh. It gives a great framework, not just to grow the U.S. economic relationship, but to grow Bangladesh's economy more broadly.
Yeah. Just one supplementary question. Many people thought that Bangladesh is bound to buy something from USA like cotton and something or agricultural product. Will it be viable for the Bangladeshi economy? Especially some people criticize that the transportation costs will be much higher.
Oh, thank you for that. So the trade agreement, the ART, does have certain commitments by Bangladesh to buy certain U.S. Goods in agriculture and in energy to address what I talked about, that very large trade deficit we had, to make it free, fair, and reciprocal trade. When we look at things like that, we need to look at what's providing the best value. U.S. agricultural products are the best in the world.
I mean, in the sense of quality.
In the sense of quality. If you look at things like Bangladesh now is buying U.S. wheat for the first time.
Yeah.
U.S. wheat has a much lower spoilage rate than the wheat Bangladesh was buying before. Before, according to your own government, 20% of the wheat that Bangladesh was buying was going bad. With the U.S. wheat, just 2%. The U.S. wheat has much higher protein content, so the food, the nutritional biscuits, other things it's being used in, are more nutritious, feeding the people better. That's what we call best value. So the price tag might be a little higher, but Bangladesh is getting a lot more out of it. So in the long run, it's actually the best value for Bangladesh.
Okay. Excellency, my next question would be, some Bangladeshi ask whether commitments to import more American products, including in areas such as aviation, agriculture and energy, are realistic for Bangladesh economy? How do you will respond?
Again, we get back to what is the best value for Bangladesh.
Yeah.
You know, 𝗲𝗵𝗄 recently signed the commitment to buy 14 new Boeing aircraft to increase its fleet, to grow its routes, and to make sure that it can meet Bangladesh's transportation needs. Boeing has bet on the future of Bangladesh. Bangladesh already had a Boeing fleet. Expanding that fleet makes good sense. They can use the existing equipment, existing training, grow the airline from there. It's the best value for Bangladesh. The United States is a major supplier of energy. 𝗲𝗲𝗃 is the largest UN investor in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
𝗲𝗲𝗃 provides over 60% of Bangladesh's domestic production. I know they'd love to do more.
Yeah.
𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁 operates a lot of the LNG coming into Bangladesh. 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁 makes the equipment used in Bangladeshi power plants. The United States has already bet on the future of Bangladesh energy. The United States is a major energy producer. We provide stable, long-term supply that provide the best value for growing Bangladesh's economy. This just all makes good sense. It brings about the best value for Bangladesh while benefiting both nations in building that free, fair, and reciprocal trade.
Oh, okay. What about agriculture?
Agriculture, like I said, you're getting some of the best commodities in the world. You're getting higher value, lower spoilage, higher nutrition, best quality. On my trip to 𝗔𝗯𝐴𝘁𝘂𝘁, I had the chance to visit an agricultural feed plant.
Yeah.
They told me that the U.S. equipment they were buying was far cheaper than the competitors in the long run. It might have a slightly higher initial price tag, but cheaper over the life of their operation. They're saving money because the U.S. equipment has lower downtime, higher responsivity, higher efficiency. It creates the best value for them. Same thing, they're buying more and more U.S. feedstocks because the spoilage is lower, the quality is higher, and so they get a better product that they can sell to their customers. So it creates the best value for Bangladesh.
My question would be, as Bangladesh continues to pursue energy security and transition, what role do you see for U.S. partnership in LNG, renewable energy, power infrastructure, and energy technology? You know, the demand is huge here in Bangladesh.
Absolutely. By some of the studies I've seen, Bangladesh needs over $150 billion of new investment in its energy sector, just to keep the lights on in the long term. And the United States has already been a great partner for Bangladesh in energy. I mentioned 𝗲𝗲𝗃𝗁, our largest investor, supplying 60% of the country's gas already. they would love to do more. Accelerate bringing in LNG, other U.S. companies looking at LNG, the United States supplying now LPG to Bangladesh. GE Vernova, other countries providing the power plant equipment, the other things that Bangladesh needs to keep fueling its economy. The United States is a major energy producer, and we're a very stable supplier. Recently, earlier in May, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Bangladesh government on energy to open up more collaboration in the energy sector, because the United States can be a long-term stable supplier for Bangladesh. Our companies are very interested. Your government has just had a number of meetings with energy companies looking towards that future. The United States is already here in the energy sector, but we could do a lot more, and we want to be that stable, reliable partner for Bangladesh.
Yeah, Excellency, you know better that Bangladesh is trying to sign, finding oil and gas in the offshore, and they're going to sign a production sharing contract, and definitely foreign international oil companies are very much interested about the oil and gas exploration in the deep sea. So what's America's stand on these issues?
So, any kind of energy exploration involves taking a lot of risk.
Yeah.
Companies have to go in, they have to explore, invest, drill, try to find that energy, see if it's actually there. You can only go so far with computers and other speculation. So for any kind of offshore or onshore energy exploration, the terms offered have to make business sense for the companies to take that degree of risk. I know U.S. companies are interested. They've been interested before. We just have to see if the terms are right. That's something that has to be negotiated between the government and the companies, has to be in what the government offers. The U.S. firms are interested, but it has to make business sense because companies still have to make money too.
Yeah. Ambassador, recent discussion around U.S. visa policies, and many people are discussing here in Bangladesh, including visa bonds, have drawn public attentions in Bangladesh. What you say that Bangladesh who want more clarity, transparency, and accessibility in the United States visa process? Can you please explain it?
Oh, thanks for that important question. As Secretary of State Rubio says, a visa is a privilege, not a right.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that the people coming to visit our country are abiding by the laws of our country. What has happened over many years, and not just specific to Bangladesh, but around the world, is a lot of illegal migration. People coming on a visa and not going for the purpose of that visa. People overstaying their visa, people misrepresenting what they're doing, people staying in the country illegally, going on public benefits at the cost to the U.S. taxpayer. So we need to make sure that while we want to facilitate legitimate travel, that travel is for its stated purpose, that anybody that goes to the United States is going to abide by our laws. The Trump administration has made a lot of changes to our visa policy globally to try to deal with that problem of illegal migration. And it's a topic I discuss with the Bangladesh government nearly every single day as we work to take the steps with the government to help combat things like fraudulent documents, other things that are misrepresenting what people are trying to do, because you don't want to have the bad actors ruin it for everybody else. Right now, Bangladesh is one of over 75 countries that certain categories of visas are subject to what we call the visa bond. For tourism and business visas, travelers, after they've gone for their interview and been told they would be issued a visa, then have to pay a bond before they can actually be issued the visa and travel to the United States. But I want to be clear about two things. One, this only applies to business and tourist visas. For example, student visas, and Bangladesh is one of the top countries in the world for student visas, they do not pay the visa bond. The other thing is there are a huge number of scammers out there. And there are people that put up advertisements or post on Facebook or stand outside on Madani Avenue and say, oh, if you pay this visa, we'll guarantee you'll get the visa.
Yeah.
That is absolutely false. The only time you should pay the visa bond is if you've had your interview with the embassy, you've been told you're going to be issued the visa, and you're given instructions by the U.S. Embassy on how to pay the visa bond, and you should only pay the visa bond to the people the U.S. Embassy directs. Otherwise, you're just getting scammed out of a lot of money. So we want to make sure that good travelers can go for legitimate purpose. So we're working with the government of Bangladesh on combating illegal migration, and we're making sure that the people that travel are going to respect the laws of the United States. Anybody can find out more information about this by going to our embassy Facebook page or travel.state.gov. We put out a lot of videos about visa policy. I've even recorded a few. And you can get the information that you need there on what represents legitimate travel and our actual visa policies.
So my take is from your speech is that the good traveler or the real traveler who have genuine documents, they don't need to be worried about the visa policy, right?
If they are a good traveler with a legitimate
if their
purpose,
intention is good,
we're still issuing lots of visas. Lots of Bangladeshis are still traveling to the United States every single day.
Excellency, you are talking about trade relation. Beyond trade, what do you see the most promising area between our relationship, Bangladesh and US cooperation? Like, is it defense and security, or public health, education, technology, or people-to-people exchange? I just want to add, during COVID, we can recall, when we were in big crisis of, COVID vaccines, we get the highest number of vaccines from USA.
No, thank you for that. The U.S.-Bangladesh relationship is about a lot more than just trade. From my president's letter to the prime minister, I am directed to try to increase our cooperation in the defense space. We'd love Bangladesh to buy some of the best military equipment in the world, but we also want to keep growing that security partnership that's been built on a number of years of collaboration around the world. We also are very committed to Bangladesh in the field of health. We maintain very large health assistance programs here focused on diseases that can cross borders. Things like multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. We've been helping the government of Bangladesh in trying to deal with the measles crisis. And very, very soon, I'll actually be signing a new 5-year plan on health assistance with the Ministry of Health because we're committed to a long-term health partnership with Bangladesh.
Okay. So you have told about public health, you have told about defense and security. What about education and technology?
So for technology, the Prime Minister has said, and he's told me directly, he wants to try to create 1 million new jobs in the tech sector.
Yeah.
The only way that's possible is with U.S. technology companies. Because U.S. technology companies come into a country and they create jobs. You look at the U.S. tech companies here, the staffs are entirely Bangladeshi in most cases. They create jobs. They bring the long-term future. So we're very interested in deepening that tech partnership. The new government has already taken some steps to try to create a better environment for tech firms with some of the legislation they passed carried over from the interim government, and also some new legislation. So we're looking at a very positive potential future there in the tech sector, and one that I'd like to try to grow more.
So how can we, increase the exchange of people-to-people exchange, which is the real relationship?
So we maintain a robust exchange program here, as well as English language and other educational programs. You may have seen we just hosted a number of Bangladeshi students, teaching them how to negotiate based on President Trump's own negotiation tactics. So we're looking at other areas like that where we can continue to support the people-to-people ties that really are the foundation of our relationship.
Yeah, Excellency, you know about Rohingya crisis, and perhaps you have visited Cox's Bazar earlier, and the number is huge, and Bangladesh is suffering especially from 2017 to last 10 years. So many countries are involving with this problem, especially Myanmar, our neighbors, two neighbors, especially China and India. So how does United States view on the role of regional stability, and how will Washington continue supporting Bangladesh on the Rohingya crisis? And the problem is created not here, it's created in Rakhine states of Myanmar. So what might be the solution, and how you can be with us?
No, thank you for that. This is a very important question. Bangladesh has been hosting the Rohingya people now for over 8 years and should be commended for their hospitality and their support to this group that had to flee their homes. The United States, as it has been for this entire period of time, remains the largest donor to the Rohingya response, supporting Bangladesh to make sure that Bangladesh can continue to support the Rohingya people. At the same time, we've been committed to trying to help Bangladesh reach the necessary political settlement needed for the Rohingya people to be able to return to their homes. Certainly every interaction I've had with Rohingya, they want to return to their homes. We have to be able to create the conditions inside of Myanmar for them to do that. So the United States remains committed to supporting Bangladesh diplomatically in trying to address the political situation in Myanmar, working with regional bodies like ASEAN and others to try to create the conditions necessary for a more stable political situation across the border. It's also very important that we get other countries to contribute. You know, it's not something that should be shouldered by Bangladesh alone. It can't be supported by the United States alone. We need to get more countries involved in the response, and we need to make sure that the assistance is delivered more effectively. You know, the United States, as the largest donor to this, is very committed on both fronts.
And one more thing about Rohingya issues. I mean, the number of Rohingya is increasing day by day because the birth rate is very high, and the total cost is increasing day by day, but international assistance is decreasing day by day. So it's become a burden for Bangladesh. So yes, we know US is the highest donor in this sector, but how can, what would be the, sustainable solution of this problem?
So first, we need to make sure that we do broaden that donor base, that we need to make sure that Bangladesh is widely supported. There are a lot of countries that claim that they care about the Rohingya issue. We need them to put their money where their mouth is. At the same time, we need to make sure that even as contributions may be going down from some countries, that the aid is delivered more efficiently, that it's delivered the most effectively so that Bangladesh is not overburdened, so that we can continue to sustain the Rohingya community while we continue to press every single day for that political situation or political resolution necessary to resolve the situation in Myanmar.
Okay, Excellency, that's my last question. As you look back at the America's history, what is your message to the people of Bangladesh about the next chapter of Bangladesh-US relationship in future?
Well, you know, as we're celebrating our 250th birthday, and as I'm back here in Bangladesh as the U.S. ambassador, you know, I'm very optimistic about the future of Bangladesh, and I'm very optimistic about the future of U.S.-Bangladesh relations. I think we have a great foundation with our people-to-people ties, with our new trade agreement, with our work in health, with the work we're doing in other sectors to grow that relationship further. And I think that you'll see a lot of that as we go around the country in celebrating our 250th birthday, our new ways of outreach to the Bangladeshi people as we try to grow that relationship. I do also want to put in a special plug. You know, the United States has made the knockout round in the World Cup. We had a pretty convincing victory over Australia over the weekend. So I'd really encourage all Bangladeshis to support the U.S. team going forward in the World Cup, because in the long run, you can never go wrong betting on the United States.
Ambassador, we are almost finished. I just want to request you, would you like to tell anything to my audience, especially in Bangla?
Of course. Shobai bahalo takben, bisho kape America ke support korben.
আপনাকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ. Thank you, Ambassador, for your valuable time, and thank you very much for your time again.
Thank you very much.
Dear audience, we are talking with the U.S. Ambassador here in Dhaka, and he have talked to take the relationship in the new height, and we would like to believe that. Thank you for being with us.